Well, it's mezzo-soprano Laurel Semerdzhian. Did I get it right?
Submergent.
Submergent.
Close.
We went
Very
over it
close.
how many times? Like 6 times before the camera started rolling. And look, I was so proud.
Very close.
I barreled in like a China shop bowl and got it wrong and broke everything. But you're so kind. Thank you. So, Madame Butterfly, or Madama
Butterfly.
Yes. Coming up here at Pittsburgh Opera. You're in it.
I'm in it.
Of course
So
you
excited.
are. That's so
Yes.
wonderful. You started here at Pittsburgh Opera as one of the young artists, the resident
I
artist?
was a resident artist in 2014 to 2016. And when that ended, I was trying to figure out where I wanted to stay based. And I loved it here so much, I decided to stay. So now I am a Pittsburgher by choice.
I love to hear that.
Yes.
Where were you from originally?
I'm from the West Coast originally. So I was born in San Diego.
We claimed a West Coaster.
You did.
That's
You did.
with our awful weather and everything. I am so proud of
it.
you.
It didn't deter me. I'm very determined.
Well, good. I like to hear
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And so I imagine that's a great reflection on our arts and culture community that you've got work here. You're busy.
Absolutely. And honestly, a huge reflection on Pittsburgh Opera itself.
Oh, yeah.
It basically became my second family, so I didn't want to leave.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
And this is not your first time participating in Madama Butterfly.
Correct.
But for those who aren't familiar with it, they might be actually more familiar with it than they think because it is such a classic.
Right. And I think that, they use so much classical music and so much opera in commercials and in movies and TV and stuff that people would probably be like, oh, I recognize that tune, and not even realize it was from Madame
If
Butterfly.
you watched Looney Tunes with Bugs Bunny, you're actually a semi-expert
Yes.
on opera.
That was my mother's only exposure to opera before I started singing, and now she's obsessed with
And
it.
she's like, hey, I know that
Exactly.
one. Bugs Bunny did
Exactly.
that, But this story is somewhat timeless. We were just talking earlier, it originated, I think, as a short story and then became a play, which Puccini saw and then developed an opera. And then further down the road, even the Broadway musical Miss Saigon is somewhat based on this story.
Right.
So what is the essence of the story of Madame Butterfly?
Well, like you said, it's kind of this timeless story. This American soldier comes to Japan and finds this bride and gets married, and she falls head over heels in love with him. And I think he, it's ultimately a very big miscommunication. He realizes that there's an end date on this and she doesn't, and he goes back to the States.
Oh, so meaning
this, not necessarily till death do us part.
Oh, so
in
this
his
was
mind.
like a fling. This was very...
Right. Even though he put a ring on it, it wasn't quite... Yeah, I know.
Scoundrel.
I
don't like that. I don't like that.
Scoundrel indeed, yes.
Well, now, do we get it? Because, I think a lot of people, associate, a lot of the imagery with this opera, the geisha culture.
Right. It's so beautiful, and I think one of the most striking moments is when Butterfly first comes out onto the stage. She's surrounded by her geisha friends, and it's this beautiful chorus of geishas, and it's this huge reveal kind of from an empty stage with just a couple people on it to this huge chorus of beautiful parasols and kimonos, and it's stunning, and the music is just perfect.
Yeah, Puccini tends to tug at the heartstrings.
Yes, he's very good at that.
Pittsburgh Opera is doing La Boheme later in the season, and that one always makes me tear up a little bit. Does this one get to you? Does this one get to you?
Yes.
So, I mean, how do you process that and being in it? Are you deeply emotionally affected being out there?
Oh, of course. And the last production I did was in Syracuse, and the way the director staged the ending. So, spoiler alert. I don't know if we want to tell them the ending.
Well, it's opera, so somebody dies.
Someone dies.
Yeah. Shocker, yeah.
I know. But usually what happens is Pinkerton will come out, and at the very end, the last thing you hear is him calling, "Butterfly, butterfly," and then kind of grabs her and holds her. And the way the director, her take on it the last time I did it was the real love story is kind of between Suzuki and Butterfly, and they grow up together, and they're basically with each other this whole time raising this child after Pinkerton leaves because she has a baby, spoiler alert. And so at the very ending, I was the one holding her, and he found the kid was on stage on the other side of the stage. So he picks up the kid, and I'm holding her lifeless body, and I was just sobbing uncontrollably by the end. Like, there's just no way to keep it in at that point. It's so moving. The music is so powerful, and it's an emotional roller coaster.
Well, I'm sold on it just there. And we should mention you are playing Suzuki.
I'm playing Suzuki.
Who
yes.
and you have portrayed Suzuki in Madame Butterfly. This will be your third time.
My third production, right? Yeah. So my let's see, 15th. The opening night will be my 15th performance.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're going to be the go-to Suzuki.
I hope for everyone who's watching.
And Suzuki is sort of like, I guess, the maid or keeper to Madame.
Right. She's kind of her handmaiden, if you will. Mm-hmm. And
I remember from Memoirs of a Geisha. The hierarchy,
yes.
sort of.
So I'm definitely a servant. I'm definitely under her. But like I said, when Pinkerton goes away, I become so much more than that. And between acts 1 and 2 is 3 years difference. And so the kid is now 3 years old, and it's just been us struggling to kind of keep this household together. And we are dirt poor at this point. There's, basically no hope left until we see that he's returning. So, their relationship is just so strong, and that bond they have is so, so important and so vital to the story. It's really neat in that way, because it's mezzo-sopranos get these maid roles pretty frequently. This is like a typical thing for us in opera.
Why is that with that
I don't know.
range?
I guess composers just were like, low voice, yeah, she's probably a servant.
An assistant.
I don't know. An assistant.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I want to research that. That
it's
fascinates
weird, I know.
me.
But this particular role, Puccini gave Suzuki so much beautiful music and just so much poignancy too. So it's so much fun to play. I love this role.
Now, what's interesting is that it's a story and an opera very much steeped in the Japanese culture, written by an Italian.
Written by an Italian. So you have this very reserved culture, but this grandiose music and these lush harmonies and passion, and it's incredible.
So I have wondered, what would happen if a German composer got a hold of the Madame Butterfly story?
It'd be very different, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But who knows? We may never know. But this is a very popular, mega classic opera. Probably a good one, if you have never been to an opera, a good one to jump on the opera wagon.
I can't imagine you wouldn't be hooked after coming to see this opera. If you had never seen opera before, coming to see Madame Butterfly, I can't imagine that you would leave being like, I don't know if opera's for me.
Yeah, right. And for those who have seen it, this is a brand new cast. There has not been assembled this cast for a Madame Butterfly before. Right.
That's the exciting part about opera is, we travel to all these different cities and put up these shows, these hundreds-year-old shows, but with all new casts. And so it's I've never done this show with these people before. So it kind of brings new life to it, which is really exciting. There's never an opportunity, even though this music is, from the early 1900s, there's no way of getting boring because you're just constantly reinventing it, and it's really fun.
Cast members to watch.
Yes.
Who are we looking forward to in this?
Dina.
Aside from you, of course.
Aside from me, yes, thank you. Thank you. Dina, our butterfly, is just so, so, so stunning. It's just really beautiful. But these kind of four main players, Butterfly, Pinkerton, who's played by Cody Fosdick, and Sharpless, who's played by Michael Mays, who was here for Moby Dick, and Cody was here for Traviata. Mm-hmm. And Dina's making her Pittsburgh opera debut, so I'm really excited for her.
Wonderful.
Welcome to the Pittsburgh
Maybe
family.
she'll end up staying here.
You never know.
Yeah.
It's a great city.
She's got an incredible resume.
She does.
I'm certainly looking forward to seeing her performance.
Me too, yeah. We just had her sing through, so I'm excited to get on stage with her and kind of explore our relationship too. That's always really fun.
Very good. And what I just learned today is, I think usually a lot of folks think, that opera is, very lofty and expensive,
right.
The tickets, and certainly they can be, but tickets for this actually start at $14.
It's incredible. I feel like you can, barely you can't go to a Steelers game for that much, let me tell you.
Right.
That's for sure.
Or even watch it on TV with what cable costs,
Yeah, exactly.
Or even,
And then you get live theater, and then you just get these huge voices just blasting you in the face and this full orchestra playing for you. I mean, it's such an incredible experience.
I always like to sit as close as I can so I can feel the music.
Yes,
that's the
in
treat
your
for me.
body.
I probably won't be able to do that for $14, but in the vicinity. But also, kids' tickets are half price for any child 6 to 18 years old. Whatever the ticket price is, they're half of that. So that's wonderful.
And
too.
I say, bring your kids. I mean, I think expose them while they're young. It's just there's no way you could be bored during this music. It's just so gorgeous, and from what I've seen, it's going to be so visually stunning too. I'm really excited.
Laurel is Suzuki. What I almost said, Sudoku.
I kind of like that. That's nice.
Oh, that's your cousin at the other geisha.
My cousin Sudoku. Yeah.
Laurel is a Suzuki in Madama Butterfly, opening soon with Pittsburgh Opera. We are looking forward to seeing it.
I'm excited.
Cheers to you.
Thank you.
Indeed.